us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
That unquestionably, I am an American, born there. My father slaved there. Upon the backs of my people was developed the primary wealth of America. The primary wealth. You have to have accumulated wealth to start, to build. You did it another way here in Australia. You had to build your accumulated wealth too. You just came and took it, and that's what they did in most of the countries. It's what you Europeans did. You just took it. We got to catch up with you a little bit.
All right, you're back. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. My name is Yolanda Lattimore, and I'm the editor of DryerBuzz.com. I'm also the host of DryerBuzz on WAOK. This is that place where blogging comes to radio. So we take you inside the headlines. And what we've taken you inside the headlines today is the headline about a Michigan man who normally would walk 21 miles to work. And he was given a new car. A young college kid decided to start a GoFundMe. And from that, from the GoFundMe, usually what happens is, news media, they scour for different stories, feel-good stories, human interest stories. And this one particular story went through the news cycles about a couple of days ago. And so was James Robertson, and we're talking about it because somebody had an issue with it being on Fox News, but they picked it up. But the dealership gave Robertson a red 2015 Ford Taurus, which was exactly what he wanted. The car has a $35,000 sticker price, certainly not a big price when you compare it to the fact that somebody started a GoFundMe campaign for him, which raised over $300,000. Now, there are some of us, some folk, who are upset that this story is even out there. I was trying to post on Facebook, but I've been reading some comments, and we have the Facebook poster on the line with us. We've got Henry M. Carter Holden. I'm going to go back to him just shortly, but I wanted to read Vince Bailey had a comment out here in the thing. He says, at least he did keep walking. My biggest peeve is to see brothers standing on the corners in front of the L stores or just posted up at 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. with nothing positive in mind. What a waste of talents they gave up. This gentleman did not. Maybe not the smartest decision to walk, maybe. We just can't let Fox or anyone else distort the facts. To me, it is also comparable to my south of the border brothers and sisters who will do whatever, including walk in extremely dangerous situations to get to the U.S. Anyway, good discussion. And it's the Language of Men show, so I can't really challenge what the men are saying. I can't really kind of help. I'm trying to usher them to another side of the position, but mainly what we do when it's the Language of Men show, we just try to understand where the brother's coming from. So we were trying to understand where Henry M. Carter was coming from when he posted that this whole thing is just a hot mess. It's something's going to turn out. The brother going to get the money. He going to waste the money, But I'm concerned about the fact that, people in poverty, people who are miserable together, they just get stuck there. They just get paralyzed there. And rather than working together to get themselves out, that particular bus route that this brother takes, where he has to take the bus, then walk 7 miles, that bus route exists because of the hardship that's in that area. But the people on that bus have yet come together and say, hey, let's come up with our own money, get our own transportation. It's just, sometimes I think we do remain paralyzed in certain situations because we can't see. But giving somebody a 2 cents, literally 2 cents can add up, and it could change their lives. So we're excited that we were speaking with Sadiq. Okay, so we're going to go back and talk with Sadiq. Thank you so much, and I'll let you finish your comment.
That was well said, beloved.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was saying about Carter G. Woodson, I quoted something out of his book, and then I wanted to bring it. I had a question for you, and then I want to make the comment. What's our aggregate income as a black folk in this country per year? Do you know?
I think on average now, here's the thing.
Aggregate, our total. What do we?
I mean,
what's our total
people
income?
love the people. There's 3 things that are out there that are measured for us, and it's usually, our income and then our buying power. And people talk about the fact that we keep trying to reach this 1 trillion, even though we've kind of been stuck there for 10 years, which is probably why this brother's still walking.
Okay. Thank you. And the point that I was going to make is that this you had a caller, older gentleman, he was talking about how white people have done so much for us and this and that and the other. That's a sick mind, the scary older brother to teach our young people.
Well, I mean,
it is, Yolanda.
Well,
I mean, we can argue that point, but it's a scary mind. It's a scary mind.
It should be a scary mind, but that was his world. So we got to understand, we live in a constantly ever-evolving world. When you go back and you sit down with some of these people that were in that civil rights movement, and you sit around that table, you realize there were a lot of people helping out. It was a serious argument trying to get just black folk to fight for just black folk.
But the thing is, what we lose in that is that there was never, and probably will never be in our struggle in this country, more lives lost than African Americans. Never. So we always try to converge on this hodgepodge. Yeah, there were good people. There are good people now. I mean, I'm a Malcolm X disciple. I'm a Amos Wilson. So I believe in humanity. So I don't really see your color or your religion. I see you as a human being first, humanity. That's what Malcolm taught us. You fighting the wrong fight, brothers and sisters. Y'all want civil rights, but you first have to have human rights. He was 40 years ahead of his time. We all know that now. You know, when he said, you got to fight for human rights. That's God-given. That's your creator-given. You're going at it the wrong way. But that's a different story. What I would say to the brother that posted the Facebook account, this brother that was walking back and forth and there was another caller that said he spoke to the character. I applaud the brother. I would give the brother standing ovation. We all need a new paradigm, but the thing is, we will never hear leaders that will die and destitute because we don't support real scholarship. We say we got an MBA, we say we got a BA, but we all know those of us that are awake, like Carter G. Woodson said almost 100 years ago. They're seldom going to be of any use to their people. And then the question comes, what do you mean by that, Sadiq? Take the money that we make and tell me our resources, our education, whatever we acquire in this country, who benefits from it? Where's our institution? If you tell me African Americans benefit from it, I'll say that's a complete lie. We're our institution. Most of what we got, our educators, hear me loud, Henry, because I'm talking to you. Hear me clear. Our education, our money, our resources benefit other people. That's the paradigm that we have to tackle and shift in our young people. I'm 40 years old. My generation, we almost gone. It's sad to say because a lot of brothers don't come like me. I say just reach one, teach one. Teach one. And then that one is about 20 million black men in this country. If you teach one, that's 20 million other young boys coming up knowing more than what they same 15 faces they put on the wall in school telling us that's black history. All right.
Sadiq, hold on for me because I still got Henry. Sure. So let's bring Henry up. Henry, you there?
I'm still here, Yolanda. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Okay, so I wanted you to answer Sadiq.
Well, let me first give some context to Sadiq. Sadiq, I am the director for something called the Institute for Males. I work with 600 boys and men of color every year in preparing them to get marketable skills to not only get employment, but also to start their own business. And I have an 85% success rate, one of the best programs in the country. Not only that, for the last 25 years, I've been going throughout this country talking to black men about self-sufficiency. In this particular instance, I have a challenge with people enabling this man and excusing him for not doing for himself. That is the wrong message that we should give young black men today, that you should sit back and wait on somebody to do for you that which you should be doing for yourself.
All right, I need everybody to hold it right there. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to let Henry and Sadiq, we got to try to figure out, we're going to meet our brothers where they are. It's the Language of Men show, DryerBuzz on WAOK.
Hashtag Language of Men. Come and join the conversation. It's getting hot in here with DryerBuzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. WAOK Atlanta. WVE.
Hey, this is DJ Logic, and when I want to get the buzz, I listen to News and Talk Radio on 1380 WAOK.
Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
That's right. So when you're in London about 1937, 38, you really had the world at your feet then. I mean, you your tremendous success. You were recognized all over the world, and yet you went back to America. Was this the feeling that took you back?
Well, I felt I had to go back to my people, that's right, because the going was tough. And today, I can go back. I just had my passport renewed. I could go back to pretty tough times now. But any time I could get a telegram next week that the Negro people had gathered somewhere in one of their conferences, as they could, and say, Paul, in the difficulties that are going on in America, would you come back and help us? I would take the plane as soon as I finished my engagement.
All right, y'all know I love me some Paul Robeson, and one of the reasons that we do the language of men is because I understand that as a woman, I've got to meet my brother where he is. So I got to be able to listen in the process, his thought process. And Hey and I are up in here and we're trying to figure out where y'all are and why you guys are on extreme spectrums of this position as to whether or not and how this Detroit man should receive help. You know, I think this brother knows how to fish, which is why he had a 21-year perfect attendance record in Detroit nonetheless. Now, y'all know in Atlanta, they say it's going to snow. We done all called out. Okay, done ran to the store, bought up all the milk. This brother's getting up every day and going to work. And good fortune, he received some good fortune. Somebody, because this is what people do today. There are a lot of people out there, because of social media and other things, they like to make people feel good. They like to bless people. I remember sitting up in the drugstore one time, was getting my prescription, and I say, you know what? I was hearing the amounts that people were paying for prescriptions, and I understand that in this country now I completely understand it now being self-employed, how you have to literally decide between your mortgage and your medicine. But I just remember sitting there being blessed one day, and I should pay for somebody's prescription, because people were paying like a couple of $100 for a couple of pills, and I'm like, and at a time there've been a couple of times where I've had it, and I'm like, let me do something good. But here, this brother has a blessing happen to him, and some of us are waiting for the other shoe to fall, the controversy, the things like that. And what we forget is it really boils down to this whole thing that's going on in media, because there's something that I call hashtag media apartheid, and we have to question some of the stories that do thrive in media, why they thrive in media and so forth, But as I said, even if the brother turned out to be the biggest crook in the world tomorrow, he didn't get a lot of money from black folk. He didn't get a lot of money from the people that were on the bus with him, watching him take this bus and this 7-mile walk. Sadiq and Henry, who going back, Henry was giving us a little bit of backstory. Let's go ahead and bring Henry back up. Henry was giving us a little bit of backstory. And one of the reasons why a lot of Henry's friends were surprised is because Henry does have an organization of helping men. And he does come from the concept of teaching men to fish and so forth. And he had issue. He literally took issue. Henry, you said this was some hot mess, right?
I agree. I just think that, Yolanda, when we continue to say that it is excusable for this man who is an able-bodied individual to say, I'm going to walk 21 miles a day in the 21st century. I could see if we were talking about a story from the beginning of the 20th century. My grandfather used to have those same stories. Boy, I walked 10 miles to school and all of that. But when my grandfather died in 1985, he had a Lincoln Continental. He didn't continue to walk all those years. And my contention is that if we continue to feed into this type of mindset that excuse this type of behavior, we're telling young people it's all right to be comfortable with mediocrity. I applaud the brother's work ethic. I question his decision making, and I question his inability to do something for himself, and then take a handout and be all on the media talking about, oh, I just don't like this car. I love this car. That's so much like step and fetch it to me. It makes me want to throw up.
So what we're trying to agree on, Henry, is that we keep hearing some personal things. You don't like the fact that the man is walking today. You didn't like the fact that the man sounded a little step and fetch it in the media. But what's the real issue here? Is that the issue? The fact that here's another black man in front of the TV cameras, was that the real issue?
The issue is that the narrative that's been put out there is that we're coming to save another poor black man who can't do for himself. That seems to be the constant narrative that is put before the media. You don't hear them talking about we raised $300,000 to put black men in college. Why? Because that is directly.
Because y'all ain't raising $300,000 to put black men in college.
Oh, I mean, no.
I'm just saying. When y'all do that?
Who were the
Wait, Henry, I'm gonna put you on hold because your phone's fading out. I need you to get to a stable place. Let's go back to Sadiq. Sadiq, y'all raised $300,000 to put black men in college. Give me that GoFundMe link. I'm gonna give to that right now.
Well, I agree with you. I have not raised that amount of money to give to anybody. But I would say this: I would applaud Brother Henry, and I would be one of the ones that would say, "What can I do to help you?" Here's the problem that I have. Self-hatred is a terrible thing. As you just said, which one of us, with all the money we accumulate every year, wrote a $300,000 check, or black organization, wrote a $300,000 check to meet this brother or to give to this brother? And I'll tell Henry something. Of course, we're not telling our kids this is how you should be at 56 years old, but this is the thing. You don't know that brother's walk. You don't know if he ever came. Listen to what I'm saying, Henry. Came across a brother like Dr. Naeem Akbar, who about 45 years has been dealing with the black mind. See, we think of the creator and all this stuff as spooky stuff. And I tell people all the time, you might be walking right by Jesus in the form of Marcus Garvey. Read.
Right, and we're going to be like, that brother need to keep on walking.
Dr. Naeem Akbar, read. Dr. Claude Anderson, read. So we sometimes, that's why I say, Yolanda, we get scary in our way we even educated now. We get scary in our thinking, and people of other ethnicities really do not respect us, and they know that we're not going to go as far as we should be, But let me ask Henry this, because I'm going to answer the question first. I would have took the $300,000. Henry, would you have took that money?
All right, Sadiq. Okay, we're gonna go back to Henry, but wait. Also, let's get a couple other opinions in here too. Let's go ahead and talk with King on 5. Hey, King, what's your opinion on Detroit men? You team Henry or you team Detroit men?
Well, I got to tell you, I'm gonna have to fall on your side mostly.
Okay.
Because first of all, I don't know what to talk about the narrative being put out there that hinders black men. I think it's more the narrative being created in their minds. Basically, I don't know. I've seen people hate to see other people get up or get better unless they have a personal hand in it. And it's usually not that they will be willing to lend a hand. It's just I don't want to see anybody else get ahead of me kind of thing. You should be happy for the brother. Like one guy said, blessing come in all kind of ways and all kind of colors. I don't know what the big hang-up is. Be happy for the brother. Don't be hating. That's what it sounds like to me, a bunch of hating.
Right.
We got people with cars, 2-3 cars, that offer work 2-3 days a week.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a flat tire this morning. I can't make it in. Give me a break. Somebody been watching that brother over the time and saw something in him that made them want to do that.
Right. Court Majestic commented, said 10 years of walking, so they've been knowing he needed a ride 10 years ago. Some people never see the actuality of how we are perceived in America. I agree with you. This person agrees with Henry. Something just ain't right. Come on now. But that's what I'm talking about.
I think more, I think without us realizing it, sometimes the people who are oppressed, sometimes when they're set free, they have a danger of becoming like this oppressor. And I think that's what some of us, we just don't want to see him do better than we did. Them Jones won't get ahead of me. I've been working hard. How I didn't get that? Well, maybe you just ain't sending out the right energy. Maybe something about I just don't get these brothers. They just need to come up out of the black water a little bit.
All right. Thank you so much, King. We're going to talk with Craig and Jessica when we come back. They called into 404-892-2703. We're talking about the Detroit man getting a blessing and people upset the fact that his story is out there and they don't know how to process it. It's the language of men. We can't tell men how to think. We just got to try to figure out what they thinking. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
#HairSheBuzz. Get the buzz behind the buzz with Yolanda Lattimore with DryerBuzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Hey, this is Pastor Raphael Warnock, and one of my favorite things to do is to listen to DryerBuzz on WAOK.
Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
That's right. Y'all better know everybody is rushing to the parking lot. You thought they were going to do something else. No, they're trying to get to the car so they can power up their phones and their radios to News and Talk 1380 WAOK, because immediately after the pastor, I don't even know if the pastors stick around that long. I got to ask. But immediately, you know, we are in this new time slot from 1 to 4. So you get a great debate right after church while you're warming up dinner, getting everybody to the table, and you get to continue having the conversation after we're done. So I want to give this segment to Craig, Jessica, Jihad, and Monica. And we're going to also check back in because Henry is still there. Henry's phone was fading out, so we'll get him. But let me go ahead because Craig has been holding a while. Craig from North Carolina, what's your conversation on the Detroit man?
Hey, how you doing?
Awesome.
I'm with the narrative of, agreeing with the guy from Detroit, or better yet, on his side. Here's my point. This guy was walking to work for, 10 years? Every article that I read, nothing ever said, there was nothing mentioned in any article that said this guy begged his way for a ride or for anyone to help him.
Didn't ask anybody for anything.
He never asked anyone. So out of the goodness of this another man's heart, he saw him walking one day, picked him up, gave him a ride, and he found out his story. The story went viral because it hit the news and the airwaves.
Right, it's slow news
college
guy.
guy. Yeah. So, the college guy said, hold up, I want to, help this guy out, which it happens all the time. Something happened recently where a GoFundMe was created for another guy, and over, $500,000 has been raised almost. But, so this guy, he says, okay, I'll accept it. He never, begged. And the problem, I have with black people is, I'm black, of course, but, so many times we see people that's in need, we don't help them. And for the guy that say, I help, tons of kids, 600 people per year, that's good. But here you're being critical of this one guy because he's accepting a gift from people that were generous enough to help him because they had seen that he was in need. So he took the gift, and he's going to do good with it. I'm hoping he pays it forward because that's a lot of money. But if he doesn't, that's him. I mean, that's his money. He worked for it. I mean, he went to work, didn't miss a day in 10 years. I can say I haven't missed a day in 10 years of work.
I can't.
I know that.
I can't wait for my PTO to say I got a day.
I have reliable transportation, and there's days I get up and I'm like, I don't want to go to work today. Right. And I don't go. So, I mean, he's been going on his feet for 10 years, and, I mean, there's nothing mentioned about that, but we're being critical of this guy because he's accepting a gift. I just can't stand that. I can't stand that. There's a lot of black people that have what you call black people that have the haves. I would just say the haves. I mean, nobody's ever stopped and tried to help this guy. Somebody could easily say, okay, I'm going to, give this guy maybe a ride today, or somebody from work could have given him a ride, but I haven't heard that in the narrative of everything that I've been reading.
Now, you say you from North Carolina. I almost hear some New Orleans. Do I hear some New Orleans?
Well, that's where I'm from, New Orleans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I
live.
thought.
Yeah, I live. I'm from there, though.
Now, why are you in North Carolina instead of New Orleans?
Well, my wife is. I met my wife in New Orleans. We married about a year before Katrina, and so when she finished her program down there, we were going to move anyway, but Katrina kind of forced our hand, and so we moved.
Okay, that's I see.
During Katrina, which I mean, I don't really like it here, but it's okay. From a crime perspective, it's good. I don't want to raise my kids, in New Orleans, but I will go back tomorrow if I had the opportunity.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling and supporting this show. Okay, and congratulations, you guys. I'm glad you guys are doing well in North Carolina.
All right, thank you.
All
Thanks for taking my call.
All right, y'all. We still got Henry on, but I want to get through some of these calls, and I want to talk to Jessica. Jessica, thank you so much for calling and supporting the show. What's your take on the Detroit man?
Hello?
Where did we lose Jessica? Hold on for me. I think we did. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go to, I think that's Jihad.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Jihad.
Good, good. You know, I think God bless Detroit man. You know what I mean? But I also understand what Henry's saying, and I think to a degree, and if Henry's still there, if I'm wrong, he can basically correct me.
He is. Well, you want me to bring him up?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
that's
go
fine.
ahead and bring him up, and we'll let Jihad and Henry talk a little bit. But go ahead, Jihad.
Yeah, I think what Brother Henry is saying is not necessarily a negative towards the guy in Detroit, but Henry is facing the reality that once this thing is notarized, that somebody, some person, and which we know is true, or a group of people will begin to rely on this particular way of surviving, and will stop doing what we consider the natural or the 100% way to guarantee success, and that is to work for it. So I don't think the disagreement is that this particular gentleman was blessed and God bless him. But if that message gets out, which we know, and I'll give you an example, they have right now had an RS scheme, and et cetera, and people found out a way to get some money. And exactly what happened. Tons of people started filing these particular false claims and et cetera, to try to get some easy money. And I think that's Henry's concern, that this message doesn't get out to young people as a shortcut to success, and that is to get on GoFund and just sit back and wait for some generous soul to donate money to your cause.
Wait for some generous what?
Person to donate money to your cause. And so I think Henry, I think that's what Henry is saying. I'm not sure. He can comment.
Yeah, Henry, you're there. He's there. Go ahead, Henry.
And I think Brother Jihad hit it right, the nail right on the head. I'm talking about self-sufficiency. I'm not talking about the blessing and all of that. We're talking about 10 years. And we all know we fall on bad times. But if you fall on bad times and stay there, and then all of a sudden somebody come and pick you up, the question is, what is it that you did in 10 years to try to secure a car? I don't mind helping somebody who's doing something for themselves. But if you didn't do anything for 10 years to try to secure a car, I have a challenge with that, because that's the wrong message to be putting out there.
To young people, and to other people also.
Exactly.
And I can agree with that 100%. You know what I mean? To be honest with you. So, I don't think anybody's jealous. I think the narrative is painted that we're jealous and we just don't want to help each other and et cetera. And I think that's far from the truth. By Henry saying that we're talking about the blessing for one person. This man said he helped 600 people a year in his program. So how do you measure 600 people to one person and then come on and say this particular man is jealous of the position?
Let me ask both of you this, because Henry can't help those 600 gentlemen unless somebody funds his program, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Okay, the thing with this crowdfunding is people are frustrated with funding these programs because it's very hard for us to see the results of it. So therefore, they're bypassing a lot of these programs and just giving the money to the person. So for us to wake up and see that this brother got $300,000 and a new car, as opposed to the organization we've been like funneling money into, waiting for them to build these community programs, why can't we see that that's okay?
Well, Yolanda, there was anything in the discussion about him acquiring sustainable skills so that he won't end up in this same condition. Where you have with some programs out there, like particularly mine, I'm teaching young men sustainable life skills where they won't end up in situations like this for a long-term effect. No one is talking about this guy is going to get some financial literacy. No one's talking about he's going to get a life coach. They're throwing money at him, and we know that a fool and his money will soon part. Not saying he's a fool, but there's questions about his behavior over 10 years, and if he wasn't a good manager of money then, what's going to make him a good manager of money now?
He might not be a good manager of money, because, you can go through all kind of programs. I've been through them all, and I still get my check and still wonder where to go. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a decent person. Am I not a decent person? I'm still a decent person. But, I just feel like I still can't get to the root of the issue to why you guys are upset. And I think you guys...
You keep saying upset. No one's upset.
Y'all upset,
If you paint the scenario that people, say for instance, if people stop, if Henry's budget is $300,000 a year, and people say, well, we're not going to give this money to Henry to help 600 people. We're going to give this money to one man, $300,000 to one man. How much sense does that make?
I think it makes a lot of sense because here's where I get upset is when I go. Exactly. I think it should go to one man because when I go to an organization's website and I see that, all the money they raised and it went to like 800 people and this is called a sorority. I think the sorority is sitting right here. And I can go to the website and I can see that the money they raised went to 800 people. And then you drill that down and it ends up being a $500 scholarship as opposed to a $300 scholarship. Somebody getting a real full ride. It does make a difference. We got to find the question. The issue is we just got to find the balance in this so that we can accept this happening. Yeah, I think one man should get $300,000. I don't think you should have to take the $300,000 and split it between 600 because have we yet seen the success of those 600 people? I mean, here's a guy, 21-year work ethic, never miss a day. He has been rewarded. And I say it's okay. All right, News and Talk, but it's the language of men, Yolanda. You got to let the men speak. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. When we come back on the other side of the break, let me tell you what women want for Valentine's Day. They want tickets. All right, y'all. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Hashtag #HairSheBuzz. Get the buzz behind the buzz with Yolanda Lattimore with DryerBuzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Hey everybody, this is Kwanzaa Hall, City Councilman for District 2, and you know I love DryerBuzz on WAOK.
Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
All right, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. According to the fellas in the language of men, I should still be out there suffering. Forget my work ethic that got me here. I should probably still be in a cubicle. I should be that single mother somewhere because of the decisions I made. I should never let my narrative be told because it's going to make somebody feel bad or look bad. Thanks to sisters like Joyce Attell, who said, girl, you need to be doing radio.
Okay, keeping up that dry buzz mess on the radio.
on the radio. You need to just come on up out that cubicle.
And give them opinions. I always loved your opinions.
Thank you so much, Joyce.
Because you stood behind them. You put it out there and be like, what?
I do.
Yeah.
And I always tell people because I had people like you, Tony Brown. I remember asking Tony Brown, I'm trying to do this blog. This was 13 years ago. Tony Brown, I'm trying to do this blog and thing. I put these opinions out there and I don't think that people get them. He said, they'll get them at some point. He said, but just make sure if you believe in them, no matter what conversation or what room you go into, that you come out of that room and conversation still believe in them. And so I still believe my opinions and mentors like yourself. Now, Joyce and fellas, let me tell y'all, this is the Language of Men show. There's one thing that women want for Valentine's Day this year because Atlanta has an absolute amazing. See, Valentine is falling on the weekend.
That's right.
And so that means you got to get something. You got to send her something at work on Friday.
Yep.
Okay, don't let her leave.
Brag. She wants to brag around her coworkers.
Don't let her leave the office without something. And then you got to make sure she's dressed and ready to go to Passion and Poetry. Okay, and
that's Saturday, Valentine's.
And then you got to have, you got to get the sweet and all that kind of stuff. But talk about Passion and Poetry because, this is Atlanta's iconic event. Everybody knows if you got a boo or even if you ain't got a boo.
First of all, though, Yolanda, I want to commend you for your show. When I don't catch it on the radio, thanks for the downloads that I can go back and listen to. I get them on my email and I just hit it. And I'm like, yep, she's starting some more stuff. That's my girl. But congratulations to you on that. You are really making it what it was supposed to be when you first walked in the door. So, and you're a sister. You are a sister, and we have to respect what each of us are doing and offer support. So I was not scheduled to be on this show. But I came off of air across the hallway, and I just enjoyed the conversation that you were having, and so I was just sat here, y'all, with my headsets on, just enjoying the conversation. But since you got me talking,
right?
Passion and Poetry is something that really excites me. Every Valentine's, I try to do it at Valentine's. Sometimes I've played with the times, like last year I did it in the spring, like Spring into Love. But since Valentine's fall on a Saturday, I knew that Passion and Poetry would fit that whole whole romance and something that a man could do with their woman, or a woman could do with their man, or a woman and a man could do for themselves, however you want to roll, then this is what this show does. And it just offers a feeling in which I think we weren't given the permission to have for many years ago. And that is to express our love openly and honestly, and to say what we want, mean what we say, and expect to get it. And so that's what passion in poetry does as it relates to romance, as it relates to intimacy, as it relates to relationships. That's what it does. It gives you permission, if not only on any other night, it gives you that permission to say what you want, how you want it, and to expect to receive it, and to also to let each person know that you have a responsibility. And when you have taken on that person as your wife or your husband or as your partner, however you choose to roll, then you do have a responsibility to help them feel good about being in the relationship.
Okay, now see, wait, that kind of explains Valentine, because people are like, why should I buy some? I love what you just said. Say that last part for me.
I remember. I talked for it. I said, it's just a responsibility.
The responsibility of just or enjoying
helping someone feel good about being in the relationship.
That's what Valentine's Day.
That's what it is, and that doesn't necessarily mean something material. If you can afford it, if you got $300,000, you can afford it. You can go get something. Go get something.
That number is not sitting well with folk right now.
But if you can't afford it, you can still do something that makes a person feel good, feel appreciated, and feel loved. Just in this case, if you got, $35 and you want to take that significant other person in your life to something that's going to make them feel good, then by all means, go to Ticketmaster and get that ticket. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend money or do anything. And that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight on Love and Relationships. It's not necessarily having to spend money to express your love and to express how you appreciate that person in the relationship. I this year I'll be married 22 years, and my husband and I don't always exchange gifts, but we exchange our love, and that doesn't cost us anything.
I love that. That is so simple. Just making that person feel good about being in the relationship.
That's it. It's just that simple. So passion in poetry is all about an expression of love on stage, and we use it through dance. I have a choreographer there. He's a phenomenal choreographer. He's going to bring members of his dance troupe, and it's a very sensuous and sexy dance that he does opening up the show, get people all warm and fuzzy. And then I have 3 artists. One, Frenchie Davis, who you might have seen her on American Idol, The Voice, and she's done so much Broadway. Some of the top shows, Dreamgirls, Rent, and she named them. She was on the show with me early, and she just named all of these Broadway shows that she's been on. And she's going to come and debut her single and her album. The song is called Stan. It's a beautiful song. She's a talented person, and so she's going to be there. And then I have to pay homage to what Atlanta produces. It wouldn't be fair for me not to be in the position that I'm in and not to show support to some of the fantastic talent that's here in Atlanta. So trumpeter Melvin Miller is coming.
He's going to bring the Trumpet Awards, the official trumpeter for the Trumpet Awards.
Hello, and he's going to bring the sexy. And Philippia has a hot single out now with Anthony Hamilton called "Sip a Little Something," and so she's gonna come and debut that song on stage. And then we wrap it around some great poetry. We have poets coming out of Denver, Colorado, Orlando, Florida, here in the Atlanta area, out of Charlotte, and just wherever there's a great poet, we find that great poet and we bring it to the stage. And of course, Atlanta definitely is representing with higher reality, dichotomy. Georgia Me Harper called me up and she said, "Joyce, I am not working on Valentine's." I'm like, "Yeah, you are."
I know, that's
and
right.
So it's a really great night. It's an adult night because I think we need to stop hiding behind words, and thinking that just because this word was said, it's, might be a little too adult, but it's just words, and it's a word of expression in which you can use and take and make it work for you in your special place. So a great night of poetry, music, dance. I'm very excited.
All right, so everybody's got a week left to get tickets.
That's right, and the tickets are going. I think we're at about 200 left.
Wow, and you certainly don't want to end up riding down Peachtree and your girl seeing everybody going over to the place, and you taking her to some whack place, and then she looking at you like all crazy. But anyway, we'll be there in support.
You definitely will.
Night. So tell everybody again where to get tickets.
Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. You can go online and grab those tickets, or you can go to an outlet. I don't know. I think they're still at some Publix. You can go to some Publix or wherever the Ticketmaster outlet is in your area. And if you're right around West Peachtree Street, you can go to the Center Stage box office and get tickets as well. And hope that you and your date, or you and me, myself, and I come on out and enjoy the show.
Right. That's how I roll, me, myself, and I. Because Mahalia and I was sitting here trying to process. It's like I said, Mahalia, for us to get hooked up, we're going to have to learn how to process these thoughts of men. And we were like, do we wanna? Do we? Joyce is there?
Yeah, I'm married to one. You definitely learn how to process each thought.
Okay.
And you got to learn that sometimes, it's just their opinion, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to take it all in, but you just need to hear it and then dissect it a little bit. And if it's something that you need to throw back out, you throw back out. Right. And if it's something that you don't need to throw back out, like I usually do, I'll be like, okay. And then walk on off.
Joyce Patel comes on tonight, y'all, with Love and Relationships. What time?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. See, I told you the weekends at WAOK are great. All right, we come back. Monica and Daryl, you guys are going to be talking with Henry as we go back and talk about the Detroit man. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Yo, this is Tommy Nova. Make sure you check me out on the stage near you. When I want to get the buzz behind the buzz, I listen to DryerBuzz and News on Talk Radio 1380 WAOK, baby.
Get DryerBuzz on SoundCloud and YouTube to hear snippets from the show. It's all about the buzz with DryerBuzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Call us at 404-892-2703 on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Get DryerBuzz on SoundCloud and YouTube to hear snippets from the show. It's all about the buzz with DryerBuzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
All right, DryerBuzz on WAOK. Last segment, and it belongs to Monica. And we're also going to talk with Daryl. Henry is still there, so we're going to let Henry come in because we got to figure out what made Henry post on Facebook. And then again, the conversation is going to continue using the hashtag DryerBuzz on WAOK. 404-892-2703. Let me see. Wait, hold on. I did the wrong one. Let me go to Monica. Thanks so much for calling and supporting the show from Macon.
Hey, Yolanda, how are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
Okay. I just think it's ridiculous that anybody would find anything negative to say about the man in Detroit. I think I saw it on television, and I thought it was a beautiful story. I mean, this is a very hard-working man. Majority of people, not too many people can say that they've gone 10 years to work and did not miss one day. And especially he's walking. I mean, I'm talking about people who got cars driving. They can't say that they've never missed a day in 10 years. This is a man who's walking all kinds of weather. We know how much snow Detroit gets. They get a lot of snow. Rain, sleet, snow, shine. He was like the mailman out there, no matter what the weather was. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing for that man to do. And I can't think of a harder working man as far as a work ethic. He didn't, he didn't ask for any of this. He wasn't, begging for anything. He didn't ask for anybody's help. He was content, and for people to say, well, at his age, he should be further along. Who are you to say that? You don't know that man's background. You don't know his story. We don't know what kind of bills he has, what his situation is. You can never assume anything because you know what they say. If you assume, you make a blank out of yourself, and it's crazy. I mean, I think, people are sitting up here assuming things, but we need to, hear from him as far as his story, what he was actually going through, as to why he wasn't able to get a car. Well, it could be anything. I mean, God knows what the man did.
It could just be that he was content with his life. He wasn't using anybody else's measurement because, you have certain friends, you got to have certain cars, you got to have certain this, that, and the other. He just was living his life.
Right. And he, it's like I said, you never judge. People are so I can't stand a judgmental person. And, you're sitting up here and you're judging something you don't know anything about. You walk a mile in a person's shoes and then you can sit up and say something. But if you don't know what that person's situation is, what their life, what they've been through, you can't compare. We have a bad habit of comparing people. Just because a person is 56 and has it because they think that he should be further along. You don't know what he's been through in his life, and no two people are alike. Everybody's not going to, be living in the big house with the fancy cars and everything. People are different. Some people make it and are very successful in their lives, and other people, not so much, but as long as you're happy, because, see, material things are just material things.
Right. And at 56, you do kind of get content with some things.
Right. You don't know, maybe some life. I mean, there's people on the street who are homeless who used to be millionaires. So what do you say to those kind of people? Will you sit and Joe bum, you don't know, blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't know that this person that you're calling a bum used to have, used to be making big money, working. You never know what a person's situation. And it would be good if we could get him on there and interview him so he can, so he can let people know what his situation was or whatever. But it's really nobody's business because, we're so judgmental. I don't judge people, but a lot of people are very judgmental. And that's just ridiculous. But I think it's a beautiful thing. And if I had a lot of money and I knew that man's story, I would have done the same thing for him.
There you go. Thank you so much, Monica. There are several GoFundMes out there, and we get people share them with us. Go out there if you are a kind and giving person. That is one of the new things today is to to go and contribute on the GoFundMe, and oftentimes there are great perks when you do contribute to some of these things. I want to go ahead and grab. Who's that? Daryl. And then we'll let Henry kind of wrap some things up, kind of defend himself. Hey, Daryl.
How you doing?
Awesome. How are you?
Well, I think we missed the punt on this situation.
Okay. You got another angle for us. What?
No, I think he got good work knowledge, and but I think he somewhere along the way he got some mental. He got some mental problems there.
You talking about the Detroit man?
Huh?
You talking about the Detroit man?
Yeah, I think he got some mental problems along the way somewhere. But
he could see another thing we don't allow ourselves to do, and that is to suffer from stress. He could have.
For him to walk 10 years and up and down the road, he got some mental problems somewhere along in there. That could be. That's just my opinion.
Right. And thank you so much because to do that every day, because I know a lot of times when I get in my commute is literally 45 minutes, and I'm a little anal. It's 3 miles from my house to the expressway, and I know that once I hit the highway, I'm on the highway for literally 45 minutes. That is the best time of my life. Is oftentimes when I'm alone, because I'm a mom and I got kids hanging off me, and I'm like, that's the only time that I literally have for myself. And when I even today, I got ready to come in and I realized 2 of my kids were dressed, and I'm like, where y'all going? And one of them was like, well, I want to go with you to see grandma, and the other one was like, well, you need to drop me at work, and I'm like, really, we can have had this discussion, because I might have had my breakdown schedule for when I hit the highway, But anyway, okay, we got to get ready to wrap up. And Henry, I do want to thank you so much for allowing us to share your Facebook post.
I am glad that you found it worthy to talk about it on your show, Yolanda. But at the end of the day, we have to go from enabling to empowerment. No one's questioning this guy's work ethic.
Okay.
And but I am questioning his decision-making skills over the last 10 years.
Right.
If we're going to teach young black boys how to be self-sufficient self-sufficient and independent. We have to give them the right mindset and the skills to do so instead of sitting back and say, I'm going to walk, and then all of a sudden I get this, I'm going to wait for a blessing to come. That's the wrong message to put out.
And I can agree with you that the narrative of this being in the news, because you know me, I do deal with hashtag media apartheid every day. The narrative is something we might have to debunk. You know, is like, okay, it is a human interest, a feel-good story, you know, one of those cat stories instead of a black story kind of thing. I think that we have to work with that. But at the same time, we need to say, I think we can safely say to young black men, hey, look, here's somebody that had an amazing work ethic and he got a blessing. It's okay. I don't think that here's somebody he didn't ever want to do anything, you know, like he, you know, I don't even know where to begin on that. But Henry, thank you again, though, so much. And we're going to follow up with Henry on his Facebook page because the comments are still going. And if you follow me on Facebook, it's probably giving you all kind of alerts where I'm commenting. But Henry M. Carter was the Facebook page, and everybody is, you know, what's your take on this Detroit? I mean, speaking of GoFundMe, I do have a GoFundMe. It's GoFundMe.com/DryerBuzz. As you know, we're trying to take DryerBuzz into the DryerBuzz app. I want to be the biggest tech woman in the city. And if you feel like I should continue to suffer, please don't go to my GoFundMe. If you feel like you think, look, this is a hardworking woman and she should be running this tech industry, then definitely go check out GoFundMe.DryerBuzz. There's some great perks out there for those who do support us in building the app. When I tell y'all, when we build this app, what we're going to do for black business, for women-owned business, for news, and for affecting the narratives that affect us, we got to own our own media, and that's what we love to do. I had a ball. It's still nice and sunshiny. Again, thanks to all of you guys that's been giving your love and support for hashtag Mama Buzz. Today is her birthday, so happy birthday, Mom. Last week, let me stop, y'all, because my father's birthday is February the 1st. My mother's birthday is February the 8th. So, yes, I am a product of two Aquarius. Pray for me, okay? So I'm headed over to the hospital, and we're going to celebrate Mama Buzz's birthday, and then we're going to get out and enjoy the rest of the city. And you need to stick and stay right here at News and Talk 1380 WAOK, because WAOK's got some great weekend radio. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Get DryerBuzz on SoundCloud and YouTube to hear snippets from the show. It's all about the buzz with DryerBuzz on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. WAOK Atlanta, WVEE.